All right, Kim, let's just get right to it. Let's get down to it. Sean Combs, aka Puff Daddy, aka P. Diddy, aka Love. Let's just go. You can tell I have been absorbed, and I know you have too, with all the things surrounding Sean Combs. So I'm look at me. I'm exhausted with it
Both
all.
both of us. Both of
Yeah,
us.
yeah,
I
yeah.
I
Let's
actually
go.
have to say I have not been absorbed because it's so troubling. It's so troubling.
I do you feel that this is more troubling than the R. Kelly, about the same? What do you think? Because are we have now just, numb to this is what happens?
Oh, that's actually a really good question. That's a really good question. I think I was a different person when the R. Kelly trial came out. Now I'm much more empathetic and sensitive and wise. And
You
so
said a different person. What do you mean?
that I'm more empathetic, sensitive, and wise in how I look at the world and how I look at people being treated, and how and the knowledge of people being abused. So it's sitting a lot harder, I think.
And is that what are you saying? Is that just because you evolved, that just growth, or
Yeah,
just because society has changed at such a fast rate? Like, is it more to do with society, or more to do with you, or is it just
all of
a
the above.
yeah, yeah,
All of the above.
yeah?
Yeah. And I we didn't really have, I think, the graphics in the R. Kelly trial as we do in
Wow.
this one,
Uh,
right?
you know, I really think my age is showing, obviously, or it's just downright nasty, right? Either my age is finally, I'm finally there, right?
Yeah.
Where, yeah, or it's just nasty. Okay. Um,
Both,
you're like, yeah,
both.
yeah. I am tired, because I have been involved in all the things. I have been watching the trial. I've also wanted significant, individuals in the media, their opinion, or what
Mm.
they've seen. So I am constant, around the clock, just trying to absorb a lot of the things around it. So much so I haven't had a haircut.
Well, and it
So
takes a,
I'm just saying.
I want to, I'm glad you bringing this up before we dive into it because I think what a lot of people aren't looking at it takes a toll on the emotional and mental psyche to take in such evil every
Yeah,
day and to hear about someone or other people being harmed, right? And I also have to say this is the society and culture that we live in, like violence and sexual assault. I mean, it's everywhere. It's in
mhm.
our music, it's in our movies. So of course Diddy um is going to be a highlight because this is like real life what
Exactly.
what our entertainment is, except it's not. And then actually, this is another form of entertainment, right? Awfully, but it
Unfortunately.
is.
Oh,
Yeah.
everyone can capitalize on this. I say
I mean,
horrific
we are
event.
too,
Yeah,
right?
it's true, true, true. And I want to, because we've talked about this, you and I, offline, and I want to correct myself because I remember telling you that what I thought was horrible, and I misspoke, or I didn't see it correctly. Let's put it that
Mm-hmm.
way. I remember telling you that what I thought was so horrible is that when Cassie was on the stand, P. Diddy was doing the heart thing. Remember, I
Oh
told
yeah,
you
yeah.
that it wasn't to her; it was to the
Okay,
family. Yeah.
okay,
So I
okay.
wanted to clear that. Even though we talked offline, I might as well do it right now.
Yeah,
That it, yeah, it still looked, to me.
because I was like, wow, he
I
really is a
wasn't
monster.
emotionally, yeah, I wasn't emotionally, taken by that. I was just like, you look a hot mess. Okay, let's not.
Yeah,
Okay.
I mean that's what right before we did the show, I was telling you about my gray hairs because of stress and me trying to diet myself and it not working.
And I think
Think
it's
about it.
beautiful.
Thank you. This man is a multi-millionaire. I don't maybe close to billionaire status or he was at this point. And then imagine all of his, this is from a very girly standpoint. Can't imagine all of his self-care stuff is gone, like the haircuts, the dye, the facials, the
He
serums,
looks
because he the
hot.
massages, like he had the best of the best, and he always looked good. He
Have you
always looked,
seen the photos? He looks a hot mess.
you know, if I was on trial for life in prison, I think I look a hot mess now. Imagine if my life was on the line.
And then you think about it too. When you go back and you say, "Oh, he was so fly," that waves and he pressed everything, groomed nice, and all of us. I don't know. I'm speaking for you as well. I don't know if you had this thing about P Diddy that we were all like, "Oh my gosh, no, he's so fine. I love him." You know what I mean? Like, and now we're going,
Yeah, no, no, I never had that.
"I'm good."
Well, you know, it's
Yeah.
so funny that your cousin, my sister, like she loved Diddy, not in an attractive, I have a crush on him, but she always wanted to work for him. And when Biggie Smalls died, I used to joke, so crazy, I was joking about this. I was like, he killed Biggie so he could be in the spotlight. And so when all this started coming out, Michelle called me. She was like, "You've been right all these years." Now, I did have a lot of respect for Diddy as far as his business. Like
Right.
he's a self-made millionaire, and I've always appreciated his hustle and everything that he's done. And he did present himself, you know, he's very charismatic,
Yeah.
right? Very life
Oh,
of the party, very
oh yeah.
smart.
Always want to be in the front.
Oh,
Mm.
in the front of the
Yeah.
video.
Exactly.
If y'all don't know that, this was a quote and a reference from Suge Knight, who was at the time the head of the Death Row Records. And at one of the BET award shows or something, when they won an award, he was like, "Y'all artists, come to Death Row. If you don't want your manager all in the videos, all in front." And that was a dig to P. Diddy
You
because
know,
he was in all the
you
videos. But we left
you
him
know,
in
you
all the
sound
videos.
you sound like you grew up in Ontario. You said death, death row, right? I'm like, "Oh, death row Rectors, baby.
Yeah, no, that's
Death
yeah.
row." You sound like
That's how I talk. I'm
Union.
not gonna apologize. Death Row Records. Maybe I get a little Ebonics in me every now and then, but not
But
often.
not a
No.
lot, not a lot. So
This is how I talk.
it's interesting you brought up. I had a suspicion in the back of my mind about his involvement allegedly with Biggie, Notorious B.I.G. But there's also it's alleging that he was also responsible or somewhere in effect from a monetary standpoint and Tupac's we have to
Yep.
say assassination, right?
Yep.
Because so
Allegedly. But
yeah,
yes.
allegedly, yes. So
Because I
there's
will
just
always
so
say this,
much.
for the most part, you don't get to that level of wealth and fame without stepping on people.
Unfortunately, that's what I'm seeing. Um, our president.
Well, and I also have to say, they always say that like money isn't evil, but it magnifies who you are. So if you're a really kind person and you amass a lot of money and fame, that means your kindness will spread. You know, maybe you'll be a philanthropist, maybe you'll give people money to schools, whatever. But if you're an evil person on the inside and you get a lot of money, then that money amplifies your evilness.
And it's like the
Uh,
more
That's what
you
happened to Diddy, I
the
think.
depending on who you are, the more you gain monetary wise, the more you want. Like you're just so greedy and you'll do whatever,
Right.
whenever to have more, right?
Because
You're
it's
never
power.
satisfied. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
And I have to say, that's once again, I think that's certain people. If you've always been a greedy person, it's going to be amplified by money. I
yeah.
don't think that's everyone that has money. Yes, you know, they want to be wise investors and grow their money, but there's a lot of people that have money that won't do anything necessary to grow their money. It, like we're seeing with some multimillionaires. Money is good. Actually, money's kind of neutral. It's neither good nor bad. It's what people do with it. And we are seeing in this trial what Diddy has done with his money and
Exactly.
how he's used his money to hurt
Exactly.
people.
And it's centered around this power structure.
Mhm.
Let's talk about first allegedly, not allegedly. This is not allegedly. Let's talk about his charges first, right?
Okay.
Why? I'm sure everyone knows why we're talking about him, but let's just talk about the charges because, and then let's dive into some of the other really, and I hate to say juicy things, right? But it was always something juicy. So
Yeah.
he has one count of racketeering, conspiracy, right? Um, and just so they know what that, if anybody wants to know what the racketeering is when two or more people are in agreement to engage in criminal activity for monetary reasons or to profit of any sort, right? And we
I
probably
never
think,
knew that's what racketeering was. I thought it was something more grandiose, but
yeah, and
that's
it
pretty
has to be
easy.
centered around the human. I don't know if I can say it on here what it is surrounding the prostitute. You know what I
Like
mean?
trafficking.
Yeah, yeah, centered around there.
Okay.
I'm trying to keep it clean. So there's one count of that, and that count alone.
Oh, wait. So the racketeering is only when it involves human bodies being profited off of, or
No,
any
well,
criminal.
no, it's just broadly just means that
Oh,
when
okay. Okay.
two or more people are
But
in
for Diddy,
agreement
that's what it
to,
is.
yes, yes, exactly.
Oh,
Two more
can
people
you
in
give me an
agreement to.
example of what that would be? Like, what was he doing that was criminal as far as the
But you got to
escorts
think
and the
that this involved their allegedly his enterprise, right? So amount of people when you're using your enterprise to exploit, women, you know,
oh,
um,
okay, okay.
and when you're exploiting women to gain
And men.
monetary or to
And men.
profit
And
from
men.
it, yeah, and
Not
then
just
yeah,
women, and
to
men,
profit
yeah.
from it. So I want to say it that way, and I'm trying to be careful. But that
Ooh.
that count alone is a life sentence, right? And then
Really? So
yeah,
that's what's
it's a
going to
life.
get him life if he's found guilty.
Yeah, that one will. And then there's the one count of smesh, it's trafficking. I have to say smesh trafficking
Oh,
by
okay.
force, fraud, or coercion, which carries a maximum sentence of life in prison. So that one too. And then one count of and then also the sexual trafficking also carries a mandatory minimum sentence of 15 years in prison. And then there's that one count of transportation for purposes of prostitution, which carries a 10-year prison sentence.
Wow.
And so those are
Wow.
what we know. I'm sure these counts, they magnitude for, because there's counts under counts, and I'm sure there's
Yeah.
others added to it, but just to give an idea of what some of these counts are, because
Interesting.
originally I was saying, whoa, where did the life in prison, come from?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I kind of wanted to know, well, what are the counts? What are the charges?
So
So
nothing
now
on domestic, no charges on domestic violence.
there has been no mention,
Interesting. Okay.
right, and so we got to dive into that too. Just my
Mhm.
feelings and this whole where this trial is going thus far. We know it's going to be
Yeah.
8 weeks, but where in this first week, 4 days, that had
weeks?
8 weeks,
I didn't
you
know
know,
that. Oh, girl, you've
yes.
been doing your
As
homework.
as they rush through this week because they've got to get Cassie done this week because she's getting ready to deliver. She's 8 months. She's out there. She's ready to,
Oh, that's
have
why they
this
have her
baby.
so soon.
Yeah, and well, one
Oh,
of the reasons they're having her, the theory of having her so soon is, you know, the jury has on their mind what happens at the beginning of a trial and at the end of a trial.
okay.
So it's kind
Okay.
of in their whole memory Rolodex
Yeah,
per
that's
se.
smart.
So
Okay.
yeah, so they have to get all, they have said today there's so much more they need to uncover with Cassie, but they have to feed it in this week because they're allegedly, it's allegedly because of the baby, this baby, right?
Can we take a
Um,
moment and think you've been pregnant, I've been pregnant. Can we take a moment to talk about this woman is all you said
Mm.
2 weeks from delivery, and the amount of stress mentally, physically, emotionally that she's dealing with. Right. I
I-
pray to God that her and her baby have a safe delivery. I
It is
really
really
do.
funny. It's funny that you mentioned that because as I'm watching everything every day, that has been like my gut wrenching part. Like I actually sit and just go and I look at the images of her on the stand, right? And I'm just like, this is scary. Like, let's hope this doesn't impact her baby, right? Let's hope this doesn't impact her health as she's carrying this baby, right? So
Right.
I've been got like clutching, like really kind of concerned. Um, and I think it's been none of this is a roller coaster ride, right? None of this is easy peasy, right? But I will say, because she's reliving all the things that happened, but I will
Yeah.
say, um, when the prosecution, which she's a witness for, is one that is questioning you, it's a little bit because you know what direction they're going in. They,
Yeah, you know what
they're
to
on your
expect.
side, right? Yeah.
Yeah,
So
they're on your side.
it's yeah, so it's going to be a little you're a little bit more your anxiety is a little bit better. Now the defense team has her, right?
Mm.
So that's what I've been checking out. But before we dive into that, because I've this is where I've gone left a little bit with the defense questioning her and what's coming out of that. So we'll talk about that. But so I don't forget what is this power structure that P Diddy needs so bad, like he with the crown king, that he exerts so much power. It just makes me what I sit back and I think about is what you know what I do. You know what I do. What happened in this guy's childhood? What happened?
What? Well, first, what's the thing with the crown?
He wears a crown because he sees himself as a king, right?
Okay. Okay.
Um, and
I
then
didn't
the
know
fact
that.
of like
Like around the house or
in
out
different
out to the.
images and different things that he's involved with.
Oh, okay.
And then the fact of some of his representatives or staff, say how they'll get calls at 3 in the morning, 2 in the morning, because he wants cheesecake. That he just is very,
That was on
he
his reality TV show. Yeah.
yeah, he's very needy. He's very he wants you when he wants, and you
Yeah.
have to get it. What like did you what do you feel like did this uh movement and growth to fame create this type of character? Or as
Mm.
I love to always do, sorry everyone, go back, it's that psychology. I mean, go back to childhood. What happened? Not
Yeah.
saying mother's responsible, but it could be anybody. That what happened, and I'm saying this too, from a power structure factor and also from these different types of nasty um, requests and these sexual activities that are happening, right?
Right.
Um, what what happened that's what you need? So
I
those
think
are
that needs to be a whole show
woo,
of you with your psychology degree diving into that because baby, woo. And people say his mom was at the freak offs.
now that I hadn't heard. Oh, that I have not heard.
And this is just what I've heard because I don't know, I'm not, I don't know the family, I don't know the mom or him personally, but just from rumors online, people have said that his mom's been at the freak offs, that they have a weird, almost incestuous relationship as far as like kissing each other on the mouth. That I'm not going to be at my son's freak off. Actually, I am not going to I am publicly going to let people know that I disapprove of what is going on because you can't tell me that she didn't know who her son was.
I'm sitting here disturbed. As you see, I got silent
And this is all
because
allegedly these,
because
and this
this
is
does
throughout the
refer that
decades. Because you and I are we were older in the 90s, right? In the club, listening to
you know,
can't stop, won't stop, and
mm, mm,
all
bad,
that.
bad, bad, bad. No, they don't
Bad
have me.
boys. You
Anyway,
make me feel so good. Ooh, and then you sing the lyrics and you're like, you make me feel so good. You make me feel so good. See, now I'm singing all the lyrics like,
right.
and I do have to say, he's a genius in as far as the musical groups that he's managed and under his
But they
label.
all got complaints.
They literally all have complaints, and they all, I think, complain about money too. That they have not made a Mace.
Well, I'll be
What he
sure.
did to
Yeah.
Shine.
Mace went to become a pastor here in Atlanta, Georgia. It
Oh,
was
is it
that
in
bad
Atlanta?
for him that because I even remember I went to his church and I remember sitting there and my mom was with me and we left and I said, what happened in the industry that drove him to become a pastor, right? Drove him straight to
Right.
church, right?
I can understand
Albie
that.
Shore talks about, I've been telling you guys this, and you guys have been saying I'm
Since
crazy.
the 90s.
And Albie Shore
Since
is
the
saying,
90s.
right, he's also feels that because he had a stroke. He had an issue with
Some
his liver.
medical
Yeah,
issue.
medical issues.
He was in
So
a coma.
he mentioned in his interview that he believes that someone in the camp, the P.
Yeah.
Diddy camp, caused it,
And
right? Because
he said that before. He's also said that his ex-partner who he had a child with, I think
Kim Porter,
Quincy, yeah,
yeah,
Kim Porter, that Diddy
that
went
she did
actually
not,
around the time that she died of, what was it, pneumonia? I
yeah,
remember Albie Sure saying,
nope,
"You're gonna die
yes,
of pneumonia." He's
exactly.
been saying this, just like all of Diddy's artists have been saying this. I've never heard anyone that's interacted with Diddy give an interview like, "Oh, he's great." We have to do a completely a whole show about Justin Bieber.
I think something happened with him as well. And I think that had a lot to do with his acting out over the years,
Oh, completely.
not being able. And the funny thing about it, I saw Usher's interview, and when he went to go live with him when he was 13, and he talked about just the things he saw. Imagine at 13, and this is just what he's willing to share. We don't know what happened with
And you
Usher
know
that he's
what?
not willing to share.
Usher's been mighty quiet. Because didn't Usher live with Diddy?
Yeah, that's what I was just saying. At 13,
Usher's
his
been
mom sent him
my
there.
we ain't
Well,
see.
he
Me and my sister said Usher he did the Super Bowl, he's done all this touring so he can get all of his money because he's about to move to Bali with Russell Simmons on what is today, May 15th. I said it. Usher's going to move to Bali, somewhere where there's no extradition, because Usher has to be wrapped up in this Diddy thing. And I love
wait a minute.
Usher,
Did Russell
but I don't.
Simmons go?
Yeah, Russell Simmons lives in Bali now. And I believe Bali does not have extradition back to the United States.
Oh my God, that's another show.
Like if the US charges because Russell Simmons has also been allegedly what's the word? Women have come out and said that he likes underage girls. Even his wife, Kamora Lee Simmons, I think was a teenager when they met and started dating. So the Hollywood, the music industry, if any young people are out there listening,
yeah,
you're a musician or an
yes.
artist or in Hollywood, just
And
be careful.
and I'm gonna
And you
need
don't have to do anything you don't want to.
right, parents of young musicians or in their entertainment,
My
always be
son
with your
is
child.
a
Do not,
musician.
do not be so excited about where you're going and how much money and how much fame. Do not get caught up into all of those things that you allow your child to just go. You just trust.
And
Don't
be
do it.
used and abused, because that's what I think happened to Justin Bieber. But that's a whole nother show.
I do. Yeah, I do. And I feel like that's where he went off the cuff.
And I
Right.
wonder why they haven't called Justin Bieber to.
We still are 8 weeks. 8 weeks.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
You think they
Here's
will?
my concern too, as we talked about Justin Bieber. When he met Cassie, he was 37, she's 19. She was a baby. where all of these things that were happening to her, and then of course, 10 years she's in it, right? She didn't leave until after that. Where's the parents? Do we know?
Well, let's reframe that. I would say it's not that she didn't leave after that. She was able to escape after all of that.
Yeah, so my thought as I'm listening to the cross exam by the defense team, who's a woman, so they were very crafty to have a woman do
Oh,
it
it was
because
very
she's
smart.
pregnant,
Yeah,
right? Yeah.
very smart.
The text between she and Diddy um, make me cringe because she's saying in her text, um, he's like, "Are you ready for another freak off?" And she said, "I can't wait. That's all I've thought about." These texts that are happening now are very damaging. These texts are having her say, requesting, wanting, um, these events to happen, right?
Mm,
So that there, I'm starting to feel some kind of way.
mm. Let me counter that. That in my mind, in my heart, if someone's being abused, you aren't you're wearing a mask. And not even someone that's being abused. I think all of us wear masks in certain situations. Like you and I act very differently at work than we do at the family 4th of July cookout
Yeah,
with the Crown
exactly.
Royal doing the electric slide. Whoops, right?
Right.
I'm not telling my boss, no, F you, I don't want to do those reports by tomorrow. I'm not talking to someone that has power and control over my life and my money in any old way. And you and I'll just put this on a very basic level. We treat our bosses, we say things that we don't really mean, right? Like we're like,
Oh,
I
I
love
know where you're
working
going.
here.
I know where you're
I
going.
love
You're
working
like,
here. This is
you're
the best
like,
place ever. Because you want to keep your job. And if someone's getting
you're like this.
abused, they don't want to
Don't
die.
ask me to do that. I'm already doing.
You text me or you text one of your friends and be like, right? But you're not gonna tell your boss that. You're gonna be like,
Bosses, listen to this.
you're gonna be like, no problem. The bosses know because it's a one of my favorite things to talk about, power dynamics.
Okay, so what you're trying to say is when he's like, "Are you ready for this freak off?" You're thinking because this is text, so you can't see text,
Yeah.
right? I mean, you can see text, but you can't see the people, right? So
Right,
you're
right.
thinking he's like, "You ready for this freak off?" And she's like, "Oh, I can't wait." You think that's
No,
what's
probably not
happening?
even like that. Probably like, oh no, I can't wait because she knows if she does anything that he slightly doesn't like, she will get her ass kicked.
Where's your parents? Let me tell you, my daughter, you ain't got to work. Oh, 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 oh. That's what I'm
But
saying.
then,
Where is the parents?
here's another thing. In the United States, the legal age of adulthood is 18.
All right.
But even before that, a lot of people don't have the relationship with their parents that their
Yeah.
parents are looking out for. And I like to think I have a very close relationship with both of my sons who are both in their 20s. They live in different states. I have no idea what they're doing. And they're grown men. They're young, but I have no idea what they're doing. So if someone was abusive to them, I
Yeah,
wouldn't be able
but
to
my
see it right away
okay, let me
and,
give
and
you this
protect them.
dynamic. You're right. We don't know what the relationship. That's one thing I have not heard yet. I haven't even heard that they're in court, right? Her husband's in court. They
Right.
said he's in court clenching his fists. They
Yeah.
said they yeah, one of the corresponders are sitting behind the husband, and when he's listening to what she went, yeah,
Yeah.
he's clenching. He's so so, but I'm not
Imagine the
hearing about the
person,
parent.
one of the people that you love the most in the world, and you're supposed to protect them. You're, for us, that would be our children. Imagine them recounting the absolute horror and torture that this man did to them.
Okay, my thing is, she had her own place, right? There
Mhm.
are times when you get out, right? Like you don't go
How?
back to your place because I hear that he had a key, he'll bust the door down. There's no escaping when you go to your own place, basically. Don't go to your own
Right.
place.
That's
You
terrifying.
you are allowed to leave, right? Because you go to your own place, right? Don't go. Go like to your parents. Again, you're right. I don't know the
What if you
involvement
don't
of your
have
parents.
parents? What
But
if you don't have a
underground,
family?
go somewhere.
So let's take a
Because you
step
don't want
back,
to be beat. This was
because
horrific what she endured.
this this makes sense, right? But remember, this wasn't just like a romantic relationship. He was also her boss. He had her music career in the palm of his hands. So imagine you have your career, and the person that says they love you, that's abusing you, like, so where do you go? And this is a multimillionaire. You don't think
She,
he could find her? You don't think there were maybe trackers on her car, that there were people watching her? I mean,
well,
obviously.
and two, she said she was in love. He darn near was almost like her first experience, right? Like
Yeah,
she learned.
19,
Yeah, she
19.
learned from, yeah. So mentally, you're all messed up. And not to mention
She's a teenager.
the, she was given the blue dolphin.
Which
So
is
the the blue dolphin. I'm sorry, that's not. It's your facial expression made me crack up because you
because
were like,
I had never heard of it before
so
you told me.
it
So
is
other
like
people probably haven't heard of it.
it's like ecstasy, right? But I
Right.
think it has a little bit, little uh, tweak in
Other
it, to
stuff.
little perk or something in there
Yeah.
that makes you what it was stated, makes you any touch, heightens any touch. So my thoughts are, you touch an arm
Ecstasy.
and it's just like, oh my god, it's heightened. You touch
Right.
a finger or arm or whatever, and
So this was her boyfriend. He was her boss, right? He had her career in his hands, and he's giving her drugs, and she's a
I remember us
teenager.
talking about the blue dolphin, and you said I could use some of that.
Yeah.
I was
I
like,
would, I
nobody
would,
wants. I was like, I don't want that heightened that you touch my arm, and I'm like,
I,
I don't want that.
yeah, I'll take it in a heartbeat, in a safe situation. And like, if it's illegal, I would not take it. Whoever's watching this, if it's illegal, I would not take it. But
Let the record show I don't want it.
I would take it in the presence, by myself, or in the presence of someone that wasn't abusing me.
Yeah, yeah. So think about that.
Unfortunately, and she was probably being forced to take it.
Well, and
So I mean, but getting
cocaine,
back to
he
the
was giving
text
her
messages,
cocaine and just other
yeah,
drugs. So her little body, her
to
little
control
young body.
her.
Yeah, yeah,
And this is my thing, like, we always, not, we culture, society in general, we always talk about abuse victims, and we say, why didn't they leave? Why didn't they get out? And people, I think, don't look deeper about money. Like, to leave, you have to have money, right? You have to have a car, you have to have stability, you have to have people to help you.
yeah.
And
True.
that's even heightened with someone that's a famous multimillionaire. There is nowhere in this country, probably in this world, that she could have went to without him being able to track her down. And she knows what happens when she doesn't do things that he likes. She
Right.
gets hurt. So
Yeah.
if she wears her hair a certain way and she gets beat, imagine her leaving him. Oh my goodness. So in her mind, and once
Oh, we
again,
saw.
yep,
We saw. We
and this
saw.
is the thing we saw. And I still people online saying, well, she was just in it for the money and the fame. And I have to say, there are a lot of very poor women and some men that are in abusive situations with their poor partner, and they stay. And they are not staying for the money or the fame. They are
Right.
staying, for a lot of different reasons. But I think the one is the
I mean,
fear.
hey, my mom stayed with my dad. My dad wasn't famous.
And how
Um,
long was your how long
um,
did it take for your
I
mom to leave?
She was there for 14 yeyears, and it
Yeah,
started, really right after their marriage.
right.
Um,
And this is my
14
thing.
years, yeah. And
We
I actually
need
asked the question, why?
because
What?
it's just not that easy. Like,
And
and
that's
if
what she
we think
said.
of right relationships that don't have physical abuse, but it might be mental abuse, or there are people that their partners call them stupid or ugly or
Yeah,
you're
she
no
said,
good,
yeah,
and
the
they
she
stay.
had
That's abuse too.
lack of self-esteem.
Right.
She didn't have the job, so to be able now she has two kids to be able to take care of the kids. So she would
Right.
leave and try and couldn't and end up coming back. And she come back to because I was like, why would you come back so many times? And then
Right.
when your self-esteem gets so beaten down, you just kind of just you're
Exactly.
there. Yeah.
You don't think you're worthy
Right.
of someone being good to you, and our social structures don't encourage or help that, especially with women, because you'll report it to the police, and not, they might go to jail for a couple of days. There have been reports of women reporting domestic, and men, I'm not going to say, but majority women reporting domestic abuse. The husband or the boyfriend, the partner goes to jail for a couple of days, comes back and kills everybody in the house,
Exactly.
children included.
Yeah.
So me as a woman, I have never had violence impacted upon me. The one time someone put their hands on me, I was like, yeah, this isn't working. But it still took, a few months,
Before.
because I was like, how do I get out of this situation with my children?
Yeah, exactly. And then you can tell exactly. And you can tell when you look at the video that it has been that abuse has just been occurring for quite some time.
And that's
Because
we
did you see
saw
how she just laid there?
one video. Yeah.
Yeah, she
We
just
saw
lay
what
there.
a few minutes.
Hmm.
Imagine years of that.
Yeah.
And then people really, I think, not having the empathy and blaming her. Blaming, and I feel like when you blame one woman or one domestic violence abuse victim, you blame them all. And then those people hear that and they're like, well, other people don't
Well,
think this is a big deal, so maybe I should stay. Maybe this
I
is normal.
I'm sensitive to what she endured, right? And what she has to endure again on the stand. My problem is these charges where we're at right now, 4 days in, if it continues this pattern, you're not going to be able to stick with those charges because what it shows, one, it shows consensual based on the text messages, right? It
Mm.
also shows, yeah, well, domestic violence, you
Can
know?
anything be consensual when you're getting your ass kicked?
What?
Like if someone is punching me in the face, I can't be like, oh yeah,
Yeah.
everything's fine.
There's BDSM. What is it? BDSM that they'll throw that in. People can
That
be crafty.
That's true, but what we saw in that hallway of that hotel of him dragging
Mm.
her by the hair,
Oh,
that was not BDSM. That was not kink. That was violence.
yeah.
That was violence.
Exactly. And that's not what he's on trial for. He's on
And,
trial
and
for
this is
those
the
three
thing, like
counts. And
Cassie didn't put these charges up. This was the state. Where are they? Is
correct.
it California
Yeah.
or New
New
York?
York. New York.
Yeah, this is the state of New York. She has
Yeah.
nothing. Sidebar, just like Tory Lane's shooting at Megan Thee Stallion, shooting her in the foot.
Oh
That
man.
was the state of California that put those charges. Megan Thee Stallion didn't file charges. In fact, she tried to protect him. So
Oh.
I just wanted to put that out there that everyone's like, oh my God, can't believe Cassie did this. This Cassie had
No,
nothing to do,
Cassie. Oh yeah, no. No.
nothing to do with
Everybody should
this.
have seen when the raid happened. And the raid was due to not Cassie, some other things. Now, did Cassie's event, the leak of which she didn't leak it, the leak of the tape happening maybe
Uh-huh.
cause some eyebrows to go up? And
Yeah, it was time. It was
yeah,
time.
yeah.
Because this
So
is years in the making. Like the
yeah,
federal government and
we
state
don't
government,
know what they
they
have
don't
been
just do
receiving.
this. Yeah.
Exactly. We don't know. with all the documents and all the calls and all the, you know, reports they have been receiving all along before, boom, the hammer comes down. Because if you think about it, like you said, Albie Shore has been reporting this since the 90s, right? So
All of his music
imagine.
artists, everyone
Yes,
he's probably worked with. Ooh,
exactly.
I wonder if J-Lo will be on the stand.
Oh man, I've been feeling for her, right? Like, oh my
I do
gosh.
care about J-Lo.
I do. I've been feeling for her. I'm like, what
Let
did you
me not be so
see?
harsh,
I
but
was like, what?
J-Lo is a culture vulture. I seek your empathy for someone that deserves it. She's
I
fine.
think that she did not realize what
Because
she
no, because the whole case in New York with when they were in the club with Shine, P. Diddy's music artist with the
Mhm.
gun, and
And
they
he
put
went
all the
in.
blame, they put
Uh-huh.
all the blame on Shine, and he
Yeah.
went to prison. I don't know for how, like 10 years.
10 years. Yeah.
Shout out
Yeah.
to Shine. I don't remember his real name, but he's amazing. He's like a politician now in I think the
Yes.
Bahamas.
Yeah, I
Bahamas?
thought it was Honduras. Isn't he in Honduras?
Is it Honduras or Bahamas? Maybe
I have to
Honduras. Is
look
he
at it, but yeah,
Honduran? Is he
I am
Honduran?
so proud of
I
him.
love
Yes.
him.
But
Love
that's what
him.
happens when you involve yourself with P.
But
Diddy. You
J-Lo,
become
but
either a
J-Lo,
pastor
but
or
when did
you
that
become
happen?
a minister.
Was that in the early 2000s? So
Yes.
J-Lo knew who he was, and actually the gun was in J-Lo's purse. Why isn't she in prison? Because Diddy did something to cover it up for her and him. And
Always.
then they
Well,
blamed this poor kid from New York.
oh, well,
I mean, I
think
don't know if
about
he's poor, but this immigrant from New York.
yeah, but think
Shout out
about
to
it.
Shine. I love you.
Yeah,
I love you.
I do too. Now think about it. If the gun was in J Lo's purse, right? Think about how Diddy set up these freak offs. He says, Cassie says, I was the one that makes the call to, you
Yeah.
know, the workers,
Because what's she gonna
right?
do? Say no? No?
Well, I mean, you
I'm
know,
not doing that.
I was the one that makes the payment to the workers, right? So
And
his
what's she gonna do?
hands,
Say no?
right? His hands don't touch anything.
Yeah.
I mean, call it maybe being older. I'd be like, well, what? What you're not to somebody right here.
But then you'd get beat up. And like you said, you're not only older but wiser, and you know how people operate. Since she's been with this man since she was 19, she didn't know how evil the world is. Honestly, I just found out how evil the world is this year, and I'm 50.
Yeah, I think I moved differently because of growing up in a domestic
Your
violent home,
background,
right?
right?
Yeah, I moved differently because I have been involved with a guy that was he was horrible. Like I
Yeah.
don't even know how I ended up with him because I watched him beat up his other girlfriends, right?
Oh
But when it
wow.
circled around to me, I was like, "You got the wrong one." I mean,
Yeah.
and he would bristle up. You better get out, just and I was like, "I'm not scared of you." I watched it. I saw it.
But
Like, you know what I
imagine
mean? I'm
other
not
people would be, and they would,
exact. Oh yeah,
especially a
they
woman,
were. They
and
were.
they would be like, "Yes, I'll do whatever you say if so I don't get hurt."
Yeah, I'm like, yeah,
And I think that's the thing
you
with
got the
Cassie.
wrong
Like,
one here.
that's why she's calling and making payments. Because what is she gonna do? Say no? No, Diddy,
Yeah.
I'm not
So,
doing
but
that.
he knew what he was doing then.
Yeah, he's a
You
smart.
know?
He is a smart. You got on me the other show about calling Shannon Sharp not the most smartest guy in the world. Exact opposite with Diddy. P. Diddy, Brother Love, Sean Puffy Combs, whatever
Now
his name is.
Shannon would be very disappointed in that.
He's a smart man. Shannon knows he's not smart, and that's okay. Just like I'm not athletic. That's
I'm
okay. But
doggone.
Diddy is smart.
I'm tired of these. Why can't you? You've made it. You have made it. You have beaten the odds. Why are we here, Diddy, R.
I could say
Kelly?
beat the odds. I mean, he didn't grow up like this poor kid in the ghetto.
No, but I'm saying,
He's a
look,
college
you.
graduate.
I mean, right? But you're so successful.
Yeah.
You are in a place where you can do so many great things, which I know that you've done some good things, right? But why do we keep getting here? I am so
Power,
tired of it.
power, power,
You guys had to
power.
release that.
We could say that about any rich person, specifically men, that have come up against doing nefarious things to others. We could say that about anybody. We could say that about anyone. And
Right.
to me, it all boils down, one, insecurity. And because of that deep insecurity, you just need more power in
No,
order to inflict pain upon others.
I forgot the young lady that said it was a Tootsie Roll.
What's up? Wait, a young lady said something about a Tootsie Roll?
The young lady said, and it's a Tootsie Roll.
I don't know what that means.
He's awful powerful, right?
Yeah.
Doing all of these things and exploiting all these women. And yet there's a woman that said, and it's a Tootsie Roll. The the uh the attribute.
Oh, him. Like this? Like this? Is this what you're saying?
Yes.
Oh, you can just say it's small. Bro, that
Yeah,
bro, that's and maybe that's why.
Why that he's resorted to these.
Oh, you know, was it Corinne Steffens? Did you? I read that book a long time ago. Corinne Steffens. She was like a video vixen. They called her Superhead. That was her nickname because she gave really good.
Yeah, I got it. No,
yeah, okay.
Y'all, I'm not a Diddy and I'm not nasty, but I pick up on these things quick. My cousin Kim, she's like, what do you mean?
All you do is go like this, and I would have been like, oh. Once again, the insecurity that his manhood may not have been up to par.
So all these things you create,
or that he's bisexual.
Well, I mean,
or gay,
because what he requested happens with the man's. I don't know how much you can say without being, but the man's fruit for labor wants it rubbed on his chest. So
I didn't hear that.
Wanted Cassie to get the fruit from
I mean,
the
I'm
worker.
not surprised.
Yeah, the fruits,
and once again, let's go back. This is what I said about Shannon Sharpe. If we lived in a society where
I mean, dog, I don't want to be in this.
What? This is about Diddy. If we as a society and culture could just let men be who they are sexually, so they wouldn't have to be ashamed and end up abusing women because they think the more women they sleep with, makes them more masculine.
I get that for Shannon. I'm with you on that for Shannon, right? Yeah. But I think Diddy is nasty. I mean, I think something has happened.
You could be both. Two things can be true at once.
Look, I'm just like nasty. I mean, I don't know that he has a problem with being out. I
That's
think
true because many people have said at the freak offs that
he's trying to top what he can do next for ecstasy.
No pun intended.
It's almost like, when you make yourself a sundae, 2-scoop sundae, right. Vanilla, you're like, oh, I'm going to put on the chocolate sauce and then, ooh, I'm going to put on the pecans, ooh, let me add some sprinkles to this. Mm-hmm. Oh, wait, whipped cream, right? You just keep,
right.
You can't, I want to make
and imagine having that sundae every day or every week. And because didn't they say this was going on every week?
Well, and it lasts for days sometimes, and that's why it takes a lot for the people to recover. Like they're hurting.
How did he work? He's running probably $1 billion enterprise. How did he work?
Like I talked about this building up of this sundae. It must be that good.
I have heard a theory that, like, if you're very wealthy, if you're a very wealthy man with a sexual appetite, you always need things like you're talking about with the sundae. You always need more excitement, more drama,
The
more.
chocolate sauce is just not enough. I tried it,
Well, no,
right?
the vanilla
Now I
ice
want to
cream
throw
isn't
some
just enough.
pecans on it to see what it's.
Yeah.
Oh, but wait, let me add the sprinkles because I didn't have that already, and I want to see what that feels like,
And
tastes like.
then let me add some more ice cream and let me
Yes,
add
that's what
butterscotch topping.
that's
And it
tasting
gets to a
even
point where you're
better.
like, it's too much.
Yes.
It must be maybe
I don't
something with
know that
dopamine.
Diddy said it was too much, but the other
I don't
people
think
eating the
so.
sundae said it's too much.
Other people being forced to eat the sundae.
Yeah, too much. I'm full. I'm good. Hey, I don't like sprinkles. Can you take off the
Like
pecan? I mean,
in the movie about Ike and Tina Turner, where Ike Turner, Lawrence, I think it was Lawrence Fishburne character, Ike
yes, it
Turner,
was.
was
Yes.
like, eat the cake, anime.
Yeah. Oh, I said that. Oh, yeah.
Once again, another domestic violence situation where people were like, well, why didn't she leave? This man, this is Tina Turner.
Chased
Tina
her.
Turner
Yeah.
had
Yeah.
this man had her career in his
Yeah.
fist, and he beat the hell out of her, and
Yeah.
then she eventually had to run away. So it's not, just going. I don't know how I got back on this because I was thinking about the
Yeah.
cake and the ice cream.
Yeah. Yeah. Eat the cake, anime.
I think people, maybe especially men, um, who have never been in a relationship where they have been abused or intimidated or overpowered just by masculinity, and of course, domestic violence doesn't happen to just heterosexual men, women. It happens
Can
all
we?
across the board.
Can
But
we
in
say? Cause
one point, one person has more power over the other and is using that power and fear to make that person cower and do what they
we
say.
we unfortunately got to wrap this up.
This
And
went
we
fast.
yeah, I know. And we're coming back. We're coming back with more because it's
Yeah,
8 weeks. It's 8 weeks. So this might be all we're gonna be talking about for a
this
minute.
might be.
8 weeks, yeah, 8 weeks. Um, well, can we just say that if he is not found guilty of the counts that are before him, right?
Yeah.
That he's charged with, and you can disagree if you want. I'm really not sure that he can bounce back
He's not
in
bounced
the
back from
enter-
this. He's not
yeah,
bounced
in
back.
the entertainment world. He's going to be harmed. He's going to be hurt. He can't come back. There's no
He's not
comeback for that.
he's not bouncing
He's
back. And you know
nasty.
me, I'm
I
always like,
don't
oh yeah,
even look at
bitch,
him
they'll
like
bounce back. No, he's not bouncing back.
no. I don't even look at him when I see things now. I mean, this is pictures that they when I'm laying in the gala, all these nights, the ones
Don't
that I
you look
used
at him?
to look at, and I'd
Aren't
be
you
like,
like,
ooh.
ugh?
Now I'd
Because
be
you
like,
know
you
what
nasty.
he's, yeah.
Ew. I'd
Now,
be like,
for me, it's not the nastiness because there's a lot of nasty people out there. There's a lot going on behind closed doors that I don't want to know anything about. And my thing, and I've said this before, what you do behind closed doors with another consenting adult or adults, none of my business.
I agree.
For me,
No, but Kim,
it's
this nasty.
it's
No, I agree
I
with
don't
you.
care
This is
about the baby oil
nasty.
and the freak offs. I care about the violence
And
and
the human,
him
the
forcing
sexual
people.
trafficking. Yeah, the
Yeah,
sexual
like
trafficking. Well, see,
I
here's what
can't
we're gonna
I
cut it.
can't look at you with
Here's
respect
what
anymore.
here's what they're gonna have to do in these 8 weeks coming, right? They're gonna have to show evidence of the sexual trafficking or the sexual activity happening across state lines and
Okay.
that it was paid for.
Well, that's easy,
That
right? Because
that oh, we
didn't
hope
he
that
fly people in?
yeah, that would be the way.
And even though Cassie paid, I'm sure she paid from his account.
Oh, yeah. Well, we don't know. He's like you gave him that smart card. You gave him the
He is
smart card.
smart. He
You
is
gave
smart.
Shannon the idiot card, but you gave him the smart card.
I didn't say idiot.
Oh yeah.
That's a harsh word. I mean, I might think it, but
No, that's Marjorie Taylor Greene. I'm sorry. That's the idiot. That's another
idiot is
stuff.
a harsh word, but whoo, when
She
it,
yeah, it fits.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
you must have quit. Uh, well, we gonna get out of here, but we be back because we're gonna talk about it until Judgment Day. In 8 weeks until they come up with. I would not want to be on the jury, but until they come up with a verdict, we will be talking about it. So yeah, would you like to be on the jury? I don't want to hear it.
At first, I said no, but I think it would be very interesting.
I
I
mean,
don't think I don't think I could stomach it, but it would be
yeah.
very interesting.
Oh,
I don't see how anyone can be impartial though, because almost everyone knows who Diddy is. Like,
yeah, yeah, true.
even if you
Yeah.
don't listen to rap music or everyone, I mean, because he's been around for what, 30, 40 years now?
Oh my God. Yeah, that you would have to know. Yeah. Yeah. Bad, 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 bad boys. You make
You
me
make
feel
me
so
feel so
good.
good. You know, you make me feel so good. You know, you make me see. I can't even sing it without going, ugh, he nasty.
Oh my gosh.
Can't stop, won't stop.
Oh, yeah. Oh, that's Nori's favorite. Oh gosh. Yeah.
It's
Woo!
so hard. Just like
Yeah.
with our Kelly, just
Yeah.
his songs, just like when I like the
He can
Cosby
believe he can
Show.
fly. Yeah.
Ugh,
I'm tired. I'm just tired.
I'm
Okay.
tired too.
Yeah.
But I do have to say before we go, I think it's very interesting. I feel like the veil is being lifted and that we're all seeing the
Mm,
evil in this world, particularly
we are.
in the Hollywood circles.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
all coming to light. You know,
It's
my mom always used to say, I think it's a Bible verse, whatever's done in the dark comes to light.
yeah.
Not only not only Diddy stuff is coming to light, but all of these very rich and powerful people. And I think it's they're not done. I think there's some other of our
Uh,
favorite celebs stuff gonna start coming out. Some of
I
our
mean, you
favorite
know, you got
celebs.
Bill Cosby, R. Kelly, P. Diddy. I
Who's next? I already said Usher.
I'm gonna
You
follow.
know, they're trying, Jay-Z, it's already started. It's already
Yeah,
started.
yeah. They're gonna have to. That's gonna be tough for them though. He's a fighter. He's
And
smart.
he's very smart. Yeah.
Mhm. That's gonna be a
Him and
hard
his
one.
wife might also be going to Bali pretty soon.
I'm going to Bali.
I know. I want to go to
That
Bali
sounds
too.
nice, right? I was like, I'm going to Bali.
That's
No,
nice.
I'm not trying to join whatever's going on. Let's be clear.
Yeah,
But
we're
it just
not
sounds
running from anything. We
nice.
just want
Yeah,
to go to
right. No,
Bali.
yeah. It sounds nice. Let's book me. Let
Yeah,
me know
let's
what's
do it.
going on. Let's look into it.
Not where Russell Simmons is. We don't need to be around him.
No, no, no. We're just going to be on our own place. We'll still
I mean,
podcast.
that's someone else, another music industry person that I used to love and respect. He's very
Absolutely.
spiritual and into meditation and fasting. And then I found
Yeah.
out that he was exploiting young girls. Yeah.
I can't do it. I'm done. Kim, what do they need to do?
They need, first of all, to stop exploiting people and having freak offs with baby oil. And then the second thing is to like, share, and subscribe and leave a comment. Let us know what you think.
Not like baby oil. I
Right.
like
I
baby
used
oil.
to.
Oh, and it
I wonder,
smells
I wonder if baby oil sales have gone down after this. Because no, because who wants to go to the grocery store now and be seen buying baby oil, and you
good.
don't have a
You'd be
baby?
like,
I have a baby at home.
right,
I
exactly.
have a
Look at
this
her
is for my
picture.
baby.
Yeah, look at the picture of my baby. Yeah, right. Look, he done messed everything up. Diddy, Diddy done. All right, guys. We'll be back with more on Diddy losing. What did I say? Sean Combs losing his crown.
Yeah.